There has been some participation in local elections, but there is absolutely no return. There is absolute mistrust, which continues. Just to mention, a couple of we have had this last week incidents in. There was supposed to be a return of 26 Serbian families. Actually, they returned to this village of Žač, which is near Istok, in northwestern Kosovo, and pretty much there were demonstrations by the local Albanian community, and there were also incidents which make these people, from what I read yesterday in the news, they would now like to return to central Serbia, continue living as displaced people. There were other incidents happening, mostly desecrations of the tombs, and Gnjilane, for example, the grave of a first Serb to be buried in Gnjilane since 1999 was desecrated, etc. We have statements, from international officials in the last couple of weeks. For example, Eduardo Arboleda, the head of the UNHCR in Serbia, who gave figures, and he said, first of all, the return of the displaced persons literally stopped after Kosovo's UDI, and that only 631 persons returned to Kosovo in 2009, and that now the figure of those Serbs remaining as IDPs in central Serbia displaced Serbs from Kosovo, the figure is 205,835. We have seen the OSCE saying that the conditions of the Kosovo Serbs living in collective centers are appalling. The Council of Europe Human Rights Commissioner Thomas Hammersberg has called on European countries to halt the return of the forced return of the Roma. We should not forget the Roma as well, who are also refugees and displaced. He has said that, for example, a quick deportation from European countries to Kosovo, of the Kosovo Roma, is irresponsible. Finally, I would like to quote just this week's article by Jan Bancroft from an organization called Transconflict, who said that the prospect for future return continues to diminish, despite contrary statements from both domestic and international actors, and the litany of failures with respect to minority rights have only been further exasperated and entrenched by Kosovo's UDI.
I think Serbia has a problem in recognizing Kosovo's independence and the new realities that have been created by the Declaration of Independence of 17 February 2008. I'm probably not going to say much more than Alexander was saying, but from a different perspective. Of course, there are 66 recognitions of Kosovo, of this new state. From these, the majority, the overwhelming majority, 22 countries, EU countries, have recognized Kosovo. The 5 countries which were mentioned, they haven't recognized Kosovo, but they recognize documents, etc., issued by the Kosovo authorities, so that's already a step forward, I think, in that respect. And of course, we know that all these 5 countries, for one reason or another, they have internal problems which play a role in their decision whether to recognize Kosovo or not. Another very important factor is, you can play with the numbers and say, and look at them from different perspectives, but my perspective is that all the countries in the region, save for Serbia, or not, that the neighboring countries have recognized Kosovo. So I think that speaks for itself. And Bosnia has not recognized it, but of course that is also due to the power sharing there. You have the Bosnian Serb who is not going to agree to that. So that is again a spillover from non-recognition by Serbia into Bosnia, which prevents that recognition from coming forward. Now, there have been quite a few regional meetings where Kosovo has participated. Unfortunately, Serbia refuses to participate there. I don't think that is a failure, actually. I think it's a failure on the part of the Serbian authorities, which are going to, in a way, they are limiting themselves. They are cornering themselves. I don't think that is a failure. The meeting in Brno, all other states, prime ministers, they were there. Of course, some of EU representatives were not there, the president, but I think that's also, you can read it in whatever way you want. The way I read it is that the head of the EU, Herman van Rompuy, is giving a clear sign to everyone involved that there has to be more effort towards reconciliation. He's not going to allow that. So I think it's a clear signal also for the Serbian counterparts to participate in this and to move forward.
I've been working lately in a lot of research dealing with returnees and participation of Serbs in Kosovo, and I just want to say that there are a lot of Serbs working for the police in Kosovo. There are Serbs working for the government of Kosovo, which means that they recognize the government of Kosovo. The number of returnees, according to research done by Kosovo Institute of Stability in cooperation with local democratic initiative, it's 700 Serbs, and just wanted to say that if there was a conflict in Kosovo, I'm sure that nobody would return in a conflict zone. So this can show that there isn't conflict. And also to Professor, I wouldn't use the term radical disagreements because we don't have disagreements regarding the status. So, and also the way, even though we have a number of 700 Serbs returned, still this is not a very high numbers, but one of the facts that impacts the Serbs not to return is due to the economic situation and not other facts. And also, I want to say one thing. Gentian also mentioned we have been recognized from 22 countries of EU, and the EU hasn't been united to recognize Kosovo, but they have been united to send a mission in Kosovo, which is EU-LEX, dealing with justice and police, and that's all basically. Thank you.
I have a lot of, since I was part of civil society from 2000, I work closely with a lot of NGO and civil society groups in Serbia and in Belgrade. I was part of a lot of meetings in Belgrade, and I know a lot of opposition groups in Serbia that they accepted the reality of Kosovo, and they accept what was happening in Kosovo, and they say that something has changed. And I know, even I can even mention by name, because even Alexander said that no one from the political level or political elite or irrelevant. I can mention Čedomir Ivanović, that was vice prime minister of Serbia, that
at the time he did not recognize. He was opposed to this. He had to change his position.
So he has changed his position. So that's why he is not vice prime minister of Serbia anymore. And but there are a lot of people who are well respected, a lot of law professors, a lot of intellectuals in Serbia, that they say that this is something that happened. So that's very positive. I have a lot of very good friends in Belgrade. I don't have any kind of trying to change facts or anything, because we cannot, even if we try to hide anything here, I think that we can, because now with the internet and a lot of international media and everything, so you cannot even hide anything. So I think that the situation is improving, very, very slow, but it's improving. When we say that the unemployment is high, economic conditions are very poor, we are not saying that they are just for Serbs, but the unemployment is around 60%. So it means that even the majority of Albanians are living in the poor conditions. So this is something that the Kosovo government and Kosovo institutions are working on with the help of the EU mission, EULEX mission in Kosovo. It is also another mission, International Civilian Office. NATO also is involved there directly, training the Kosovo security force that will become in future as the Ministry of Defense or the Defense Force of Kosovo. So all international factors, even the UN, are present there, and they are trying to assure that everything will go as is planned and something will come up. But if there is anything that the Kosovo authorities or Kosovo institutions have to talk with the Serb government, I think yes, there are still issues that we can talk, not like maybe in the level of status anymore, but the level of missing people. There are a lot of, as Gentian mentioned, the reparations that next week we will start a huge civil society network that are also NGOs from Serbia part of that. It's a Komra network that we will deal next 12 months just for the reparation part of what was done and what needs to be done by the Serbian government, because directly they are responsible on that. So.